Hi everybody, my name is Marin with ProjectWellnessNow.com. In today's video, we're going to show you some yoga poses to help balance your chakras. All poses are going to hit each of the 7 points in your chakras, and when done together, it's going to bring those chakras into alignment, which is going to bring greater peace and harmony from within to your outer experience in the world. So let's go ahead and get started. The first pose we have is Balasana, otherwise known as the resting child's pose. You want to start finding a comfortable place to get on your hands and knees. You're going to take a nice big breath in, and then as you exhale, push your torso back, sitting your glutes down to your heels. You're going to push back, reach your arms all the way up as you bring your forehead to the floor, and then roll your shoulders back and down. When you find comfort here, go ahead and relax your total weight on your forehead, bringing your hands back nice and slowly, palms facing up behind you. Relax here now, relaxing your shoulders, breathing in nice and deep as you just sit comfortably in this pose. Take a few deep breaths here, focusing on your root chakra, focusing deep down into your pelvis, focusing on your whole body, your hips, your feet, your hands, your forehead, grounding down into the floor. You really want to focus on that, and if you can think of the color red, that's going to help you. Just breathing in deep, focusing on that color, and just feeling your body melt into the floor. After you complete this pose, feel free to stay in there for a good 5 to 6 deep breaths minimum, or however long you feel is necessary. Feeling your body out through this process is important because sometimes certain chakras need a little more balancing than others. When you're complete with that, we can move to the second pose, which is the goddess pose, and we're going to do this for our sacral chakra. So now really focusing deep within our sacral, right here in the core. So we're going to stand up, bringing our feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. It's okay if your toes point slightly outwards or to the corners. We're going to take a nice big inhale, raising those arms up, place those palms together, and then down into a nice squat, opening those knees. If you need to spread your legs out wider, that's fine. Just make sure you form this nice 90-degree angle with the knees. Open those knees up, pushing the hips under, rolling the shoulders back and down, and focusing again on that nice core. Tighten that core real tight. And then when you're ready, press your palms up and raise it up over your head. Breathe in nice and deep. You're welcome to open your hands here if necessary, or you can just focus on bringing your hands right here to center, really keeping that core nice and engaged. Here you can focus on the color orange. Now breathe here for several deep breaths, about 5 or 6 minimum, or however long you feel like it. Then exhale, standing up, bringing those arms up and over, and then relax them back down. The next pose is really going to focus on our solar plexus, which is right up here in our core, right above the gut, and we're going to do this by doing the plank pose. So we're coming back to the ground with our hands shoulder width apart and our feet about shoulder width apart. You can bring them together if you like, but standing with shoulder width apart, keeping that body nice and flat. You can see my belly's not sinking, my butt's not up. You really want to make sure you're nice and flat. Keep those shoulders rolled back and down. Stay strong in this pose and focus right there in the solar plexus. And so breathe in nice and deep, again engaging that core, and you can feel that solar plex come right through you, right into your back, so it's going to really balance out this chakra, and you can think of the color yellow here. So hold this pose nice and strong for several deep breaths, or 5 to 6 minimum, or however long you feel is necessary, and then we're going to go ahead and relax. The next pose we have is the upward facing dog, and this is going to target our heart chakra, and you're going to see it's a nice heart opening pose. So from the plank pose, you can actually move right into it by gently dropping those hips to the ground, flipping the tops of your feet onto the ground. You're pushing into the ground with your big toes and rolling those shoulders back and down. Now looking straight. Really opening that heart by keeping those shoulders back, breathing in deeply for 5 to 6 deep breaths. And in this pose, you can focus on the color green, or just really think about your heart and just focus on it as this pose opens it up. For our next chakra, which is the throat, we're going to flip over and do a pose called the fish pose. This is one of my favorite poses, and I think this is because the throat chakra for me is one that typically comes out of balance. So you might notice that you like more poses, or poses might be a little more uncomfortable or intense. Those are signs that you should think about or be aware of in balancing your chakras and what chakras may need it more or not. So we're going to sit down on our butts with our legs nice and straight. We're going to lean back onto the forearms, just like this, on our elbows, palms facing down. From here, I like lifting my hips, then pressing and arching my back, lifting up. And I'm gonna scooch my elbows down as much as I can as I push my throat area, or my chest and throat, up towards the sky, and then gently arch back. The most important thing is that your head touches the ground, but your weight does not rest on your head. See how nice and soft it is here? So we're just going to gently touch the head on the ground, keeping that chest and throat nice and open. Point the toes so the weight is in your hips and your elbows. Breathe in deeply here for 5 to 7 deep breaths. And then when you come up, exhale, lifting your head, and then sitting yourself back up into starting position. That's really important, so make sure there's no weight on the head. Really keep it strong in your elbows and your forearms. The second to last pose we have, which is going to get our third eye, is the dolphin pose. And this is basically like the downward dog, but on our forearms. So let's go ahead and start on our forearms in a nice plank pose, being nice and flat. Palms are spread out, your arms are parallel with one another. And then you're gonna push your hips up. So bending at the hips, lifting those hips, pressing your palms and forearms away from the floor. And then I like walking my heels up and then beginning to press them down into the floor. You can see that my third eye, or the forehead here, is going to focus on coming down towards the ground. So we can focus on the color purple here. And you can also feel free to cross your eyes up towards your third eye or your brow. And then just really focus on bringing that third eye to the floor. And breathe here for 5 to 6 deep breaths, or however long you feel is necessary. You're always welcome to come out of the pose and then work on coming back. Just feel it out, and you can even move through the poses. So you don't have to be perfect. Just do it with the best form possible and focus on those chakras as well. I think I may have forgotten to mention that when you're working on your throat chakra, be sure to think of the color blue. The last movement we have is the crown chakra. And with this, we're going to stand up and do the tree pose. Now the crown is going to be violet. You can think of violet, clear. You can think of an iridescent rainbow. It just may be helpful to you if you give it a try. For the tree pose, we're gonna stand nice and tall. You can start by bringing your foot up and out so that you have your toe here to balance on. Bring the hands to the chest, and go ahead and look up towards the crown or up towards the sky. From here, you can progress to bringing your foot up either above or below the knee. Make sure you open that knee out. And you can also raise your arms up right above your crown. This is gonna bring you focus and balance. And if you just focus on that color violet or the crown of your head and breathe in deep for 5 to 7 breaths, make sure you also come back and do the other side as well. Keep everything nice and aligned. Make sure you're lifting your belly out of the hips and your rib cage out of your belly, shoulders back nice and down. So you're welcome to do each pose if you feel like one chakra is out of balance. I recommend doing all of them at least regularly so that you know they're all in sync with one another. And you can give it a try as a full routine as well, going through it multiple times if you like. Thank you so much for joining me here on the yoga poses for chakra balance. My name is Marin with ProjectWellnessNow.com, and I hope you enjoyed this video.